What up, y'all, and welcome to Daytona International Speedway for the 2023 NRSL Digital Storm Cup Series Daytona 500 qualifying day. As always, we are doing group sessions, 2 group sessions to be exact. First off, we've got the Go Home group, which is 30 cars strong this year. We'll find out who is going to lock in on speed, and then who will have to race in through the dual races. I'm joined once again by my man, Vince Freeze. What's up, Vince?
What's going on? Daytona, new start to the season, just like we never left. Should be a good one today here in qualifying.
Just to go over how it's going to work this year, we're going to make sure this season that there's an even amount of Go Home drivers in each duel. So that'll be 15 in Duel 1, 15 in Duel 2. The way it'll work is we will lock in the top 4 on qualifying speed. So those top 4 will be locked in no matter what. If they have to, they can race their way in still. But if they need to, they can fall back on that time. So that means we will have 4 drivers from each duel racing their way in. So that'll be 4 from Duel 1 and then 4 from Duel 2, which makes up 31st, 38th. Well, actually, no, it would be 8 there out of the 12 available slots for Go Home cars. And then we would fall back on the 4 on speed, and that will fill up our field of 42. So top 4 in each duel, and then 4 top on time overall. So with that said, the only drivers that will have a chance to fall back on speed are those in the top 12 of this session. Everybody else will definitely have to race their way in. But Vince, as always, even if you are in that 5th to 12th range, you're probably going to want to race your way in.
Yeah, nothing can be taken for granted here at Daytona. And one of the biggest things you see here is Skylar Taylor on track, our rookie in the Red Bull 84. You want to have a friend. 2 to 3 cars is ideal, maybe to start off with, and maybe start to catch a pack like you see with Diego Yepes. I believe Yepes was our pole sitter last year too.
Yes, indeed he was.
Yes, he's looking to go 2 for 2 on the pole category, but he's in a good spot right here. He's going to tag along, and then hopefully they'll start catching some packs, and that's where you get that cut the fast one for sure.
It's slipping my mind right now who was on the front row with Yepes, but I will check back on that.
Might have been RJ Bishop.
Uh, yes, actually, I think you're correct. I think it was RJ Bishop. But I will know for sure after the session. I will double check my history sheet. Should have had that up for this session. Was looking at times last year. I'm not sure if the weather was the same. I know it was sunny out. But temperature-wise, not sure if that was the same. But we saw drivers hitting 44 ones for qualifying time last season. So, yeah, looks like 44 ones should about be the same as the Cup cars reach speeds of up to, I think, 208 miles an hour in the draft.
Look at Trey Smith, top of the board. Trey Smith was really excellent in the dual race last year. Had a crazy finish with Peter Onjak and someone else, I believe. So he's looking to regain that Daytona magic. For sure.
It was Lane Sanders, I want to say.
Yeah, laying the 31. Yep.
Got some fresh faces, so we'll just kind of glance over them really quickly here. You got Zach Carrington in the 44 for Evernham Petty Motorsports, which is now a 2-car team once again. This 44 car actually sat on the front row with Stephen Colon back in, I think it was 2021. You got Colin Cropley in the 11 for Joe Gibbs Racing. It's Bradley Ream back in the 88. Dennis Moore is driving the 36. This was the car Trey Smith drove last season. See Laura Chung returning in the 20. Lucas Catano, fresh face in the Cup Series, with Andrew Rich and Keith Rich leaving Bulldog Motorsports to form their own team, Rich Racing. Team owner Zach Rogers allowed Rich to take his owner points along with his sons. So the 39 of Lucas Catano and then the 66 of Benjamin Ice will be in Go Home alongside teammate Colt Hudson. Ace Rogers is the only Bulldog car locked in to the 500. As we're seeing faster lap times this year, Vince, 43.788 by Diego Yepes. So looking to go back and back indeed. So you got Derek Hamill back in the 32, Scott Roush in the 6, Richard Johnson in the 47, going to be making his first full-time season, but because of his past All-Star attempts, he is not being deemed a rookie. Roy Ribbleton makes the jump over to the 83 for Red Bull from the 43 of Evernham Petty. You got Zachary DeLello in the 4 for Stort-Haas Racing, making his Cup Series season debut. Ricky Freeman Jr., fresh face, is only running the Digital Storm Cup Series in his debut season on the channel. You also got Enzo Nareza running the 34 Bang Energy Dodge. Nareza didn't have a spot to go at Bulldog, so they put him in a Dodge teammate car out of Front Row Motorsports. You got Chris Harvey in the 43, which Ribbleton drove last season. Quinton Moore drives the new 16 Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. Quinton Moore was let go from Evans Gardner Motorsports. Quinton, therefore, in this new car, will have to race his way into the show for the first 4 races of the season, or well, rather, for the Daytona 500, and then qualify on time for races 2 through 4. Owen Miles back in the 28. There's Benjamin Ice in that beautiful 66. Logan Williams is the new driver of the 99 Levi McIntyre, no longer in the series. Got Sebastian Kukulon, new team with Zach Flickinger Racing. So that 45 car, he is in Go Home territory. You got Corey Raymond in the 3rd brand new Red Bull Racing car. There's Colt Hudson back in the 93, Christian Vargas back in the 42, and Priya McShane back in the 41. These are a handful of drivers here that were all fighting to be top 30 in owner points at the end of last season. There is Trey Smith, who's currently P2 on the board behind Diego Yepes. You got Darian Tawn in the 13. That car did not make many races last year. Another new car, 27, for Richard Childress Racing, driven by Corey Riggs, who was also driving in the Jerky Pro Truck Series. Riggs has 2 Jerky Pro starts to his name from back in 2021, I believe. And now full-time foray for him in both series. Excuse me. And then you cannot see the R that designates this driver as a rookie, but Archibald Buttersworth is a new driver in the series. He'll be running in Jerky Pro as well. He's driving the 33 here for Team Penske. This car was previously an All-Star only car, which we saw Marty Johnson driving. I believe we have gone through everyone. So right now, Vince, it's Diego Yepes, Trey Smith, Roy Ribbleton, and Archibald Buttersworth, the top 4 out of the Go Home drivers.
Yeah, Diego Yepes. Let's see where Yepes is at on track to see how he cut that fast. Well, obviously, we can't see a replay, but let's see where he's at just in reference to what pack he was in. Looks like he's on pit road, maybe?
I think he was on pit road, and we can take a look back here while these drivers are still setting laps. Here is the lap. He was doing about 204 at the start-finish line. And yeah, look, they were single file in front of him. Okay. You can see nice Archibald. Archibald was there with them. He had Trey Smith drafting with. And he had Darian Tawn and Skylar Taylor up here. And they were all catching Corey Riggs. You can see even side by side, Buttersworth and Trey Smith were doing about 206 down the back straightaway. And the whole time Yepes was in their wake, he didn't make any moves. This was, I think, by far a perfect lap for the 18 of Yepes. And yeah, there you see it, a 43.788. And now Yepes will head back out onto the racetrack, and nothing has changed in the minute that we looked at that lap time.
Yepes had the perfect drag there. Back to you.
Yep, definitely. So now looking at who is in 5th to 12th, you've got Sebastian Kukulon, the 34 of Enzo Nareza, 28 of Owen Miles, and the 93 of Colt Hudson. Those 4, I'd say, have the best chance of making it in on time if any of the top 4 are to race their way in, as now Priya McShane has jumped up to P5, Darian Tawn up to P6. So that drops those 4 drivers down 2 positions each. And that puts Corey Riggs and Quinton Moore 11th and 12th. Which means right now 13th on down to 30th would have to race their way in. And there's quite the spread here, Vince. You can see a couple of cars that just have not been able to get a good draft lap. That's really, you know, what you might say is a con of having a group qualifying session here is that if you don't get draft, then you're not going to get to set a good lap.
It's the old lottery, right?
Yeah.
It's just luck of the draw.
It's kind of luck of the draw. Everyone just, and that's the thing over the years, everyone just goes out and they just hope that they land in a pack. There's really no waiting. Once you're ready to go, you go. You see Corey Riggs has jumped up to P10. Nareza P6 is now the 82, driven by Corey Raymond has jumped up to P5. And now more cars. Lucas Catano is up to P6.
I think Kugelon might cut a fast one here. He's catching Yepez just enough. This could be a good lap. We'll watch out. They're all in single file.
Oh, yeah, they are really lined up right here. Mainly these front 3. See if Raymond has anything better here. Nope, he does not. Christian Vargas faster, though. He's up to P15. Not that that means anything other than starting position in the dual races. So each dual race will be 30 cars apiece, just like these sessions. Oh, 31 is Saden Davidson. We did not get to mention him. As Laura Chung just jumped up to P17. Logan Williams now up to P3 with Quinton Moore P4.
Yeah, power move by those guys. We know Quinton Moore, he's got something to prove after getting let go from Evans Gardner. That was a quality ride. Looking to rekindle that here at Roush.
That knocks Ribbleton down to P5. And Buttersworth actually got knocked down to P7 below Enzo Nareza. And now they're really shuffling. Buttersworth right back up to P4. This pack just set some laps. Skylar Taylor up P5. Corey Riggs right back up to P11. So they are really shuffling. Oh, this pack is catching another pack in front of them. Oh, and Corey Riggs. Oh, Darian Ton could be in line for a really good lap here. That's 2:07 into turn 3. And we've just got 2.5 minutes left in this session.
Got to file it in line here, and they're really going. I think this next lap coming, this could be the lap here. They could cut one right here.
Darian Ton might be on for a good lap here as well. Let's see what it is at the line. Yes, 43, 682, top of the board for the 13.
Yep, 30,
Trey Smith in front of him, a 752 jumps Yepes as well. And the Reza P4. You see Corey Riggs, though, Vince, that last lap ran at 8:59. He could be up to run an even faster one. Look at him following the wake here down the back straightaway.
Starting to sniff Yepez once again. Yepez, if I'm him, I start dropping back a little bit and try to get another run.
Oh, they are going high here. I think someone up in front of them is pitting. They could still get a really good run here. Yeah, Yepez is going to hit pit road. Corey Riggs at the start-finish line. Yes, sir, 772. But Trey Smith goes to the top with a 680.
Trey Smith looking really good right now.
So now it's Trey Smith, Darian Ton, Corey Riggs, and Diego Yepes, the top 4 with about a minute to go. And these guys could run an even faster lap. Corey Riggs and Trey Smith are hooked up. 2:09 into turn 3.
Two-car tandeming. Let's see if they can get it here. They're going to hit it right at the right time, though.
Riggs goes low. Oh, Riggs is still hauling the mail here. He's going to check up right at the line, but I think it'll still be good. Wow, a 43.328 by Corey Riggs. 341 by Buttersworth. 299 Darian Ton, and 283 Trey Smith.
84, watch him. He might be the next guy in line. He's catching again.
I'm not so sure. I think he's going to have to check up here, but he's definitely got a good lap going. He set a 496 last time by.
4 wide in qualifying.
4 wide in qualifying. You don't see that every day.
No, he had to check
out.
Oh,
there might crash. Taylor's actually going to pit here. He wants none of this. Oh, Colt Hudson and Kugelon were about to crash going into the tri-oval. We are on standby now.
I think that's going to be pole, buddy, at least for this session.
Head to the
Trey
TV2
Smith.
camera. We'll see if anyone can top those top four, but they were a pack catching a pack. And I don't think anyone is going to top those lap times, even in the top 30 session that we have left to run here. I'm not sure if anyone's going to get that lucky. Those could be, there goes the pack now. They're right at the line, and that is the session. So, session complete. It's Trey Smith and Darian Ton not only locked into the race on time, but on potential front row start. They just got to finish the dual races. If they retire, they forfeit their starting positions, which we've actually never seen that happen in 6 seasons. The pole sitter or the front row guy have never had to forfeit their spots. Corey Riggs and Archibald Buttersworth also likely to be locked in. Well, they are locked in, rather, I should say. No matter what. I'm a little tired, guys. Don't mind me. Recording this after a long workday, after 3 long workdays. So we roll, though. So looking at potential drivers that can make it in on speed, Vince, if the top 4 and then the next 4 race their way in. So Skylar Taylor, Diego Yepes, last year's pole sitter, Enzo Nareza, and Logan Williams, they are looking the best from 5th to 8th. And then those with a chance, Quinton Moore, Roy Ribbleton, Corey Raymond, and Richard Johnson. So everyone else down the list, Vince, they have got to race their way in. Those drivers are Scott Roush, Chris Harvey, Lucas Catano, Priya McShane, Sebastian Kukalon, Owen Miles, Colt Hudson, Christian Vargas, Laura Chung, Zachary DeLello, Ricky Freeman Jr., Benjamin Ice, Colin Cropley, Derek Hamill, Dennis Moore, Saden Davidson, Bradley Ream, and Zach Carrington. So we're going to take a quick breather, and we'll be back for those that are locked into the field to see if they can top Trey Smith and Darian Ton for a chance at starting on the front row in the 2023 NRSL Digital Storm Daytona 500. All right, everybody, welcome back to Daytona. It's now time for the locked-in group. So we got 15 minutes to see if somebody can top one of the times set, or the times set, rather, in the Go Home session. Trey Smith, a 43.283, and Darian Ton, a 43.299. That'll be on the right side of the screen. I'll put that over the screen in post-edit. Vince and I, though, are looking at it right now, off screen or on a side monitor in my case. But first one on track, Vince. Talked about it briefly in the first session. Andrew Rich, now his own team, driving for his own team, Rich Racing, and running Ford Mustang. So a bit of a turn to the dark side for Andrew Rich and Keith Rich, as Andrew has driven pretty much Dodge every season for Bulldog Motorsports, with the exception of the one season the team ran Subarus. And then the only other time he was not in a Dodge or a Subaru, Andrew, with the one season in Jerky Pro, drove a Chevy for GMS Racing, which was also the team Keith Rich drove for 4 seasons. So these two have never driven Fords before, and it's their first year doing so. So we'll have to see what they got.
Yeah, Rich, he's always the master. He can definitely get it done, especially with a shorter season. You don't have to go out there to win 10 races. Well, more on that a little bit later in this session as well.
And let's just go through the field and remind you guys, I mean, to me, I'm seeing the cars come out here, and I know the names by heart because these are the guys that we've been calling names for in these schemes for the past 2 seasons. Dylan Young in the 2 back for Team Penske. That's his team. Alex Ferranti back in the 48, which is now a Hendrick Motorsports car. And Hendrick is the only 5-car team in the series. Junior Motorsports was dissolved, and they are being allowed to do that. Logan York in the 95 once again for Kyle Busch Motorsports. But you could basically say this is a 5th Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. You got Zach Flickinger in a brand new 96. I only actually forgot to mention that CFF made the move back to Chevrolet. They were Fords the last season, maybe Toyota last season, I forget. Speaking of Toyota, Zachary Fitzwater Sr. coming out on track. Evans Gardner Motorsports making the move to Toyota. So that's 3 more Toyotas in the field, and I'd say out of those 3 Toyotas, the ones with the best chances at winning will be Fitzwater and Rob Evans. Vince, it is Rob Evans again, no longer Amanda Evans. And we're just going to close the case right there. You got Nico Tringali back in the 7 for Hendrick. Lane Sanders is now in the 8. He drove the 31 last season, and because of Sebastian Kugelon last year, Vince, he is locked in for the first 4 races of the season.
Looks good. Similar to Kukulon's scheme, but a little bit different.
Got Jesse Turner back in the 17 for Roush Fenway Racing. You got Kate Anderson, who will be driving the 77, both in Digital Storm and in Jerky Pro. Kev Shearer, Mr. Triggered himself, is back in the 00 for Starcom Racing. Forgot the name there for a second. Got Jessica Shelton back in the 02. Audra Baranowskis back in the 1, who had a stellar rookie season last year and won her 2nd straight Jerky Pro Truck Series title. There's Ace Rogers, the lone Bulldog car, locked in. Cole Deaver, 24 for Hendrick, new color scheme here, bit of a throwback. And it's Steven Waters behind the wheel here. So that is a full new-blooded rookie here in the Cup Series and running in the Truck Series. So he's locked in for the first 4 races as well, and man, he is going to need it. There's Vince Fries himself in the 12 for Team Penske. Charles Sanford in the 03. Can Charles Sanford rebound this year, Vince? He had that amazing 2021. Not the same kind of season, though, in 2022. We'll have to see what he's made of with a shorter season. Got William Brock in the 19. There's the other Rich Racing car of Keith Rich in the 53. Andrew Rich is going to be sponsored by Jack Daniels Honey and Dr. Squatch. And then Keith Rich has sponsorship from DeWalt and the Home Depot. Got Seth Cole and Henry Sanford lined up bumper-to-bumper teammates at S3 Motorsports. With Alexander Rowe, last year's Daytona 500 winner here in the 14. Currently P30, no longer. Now he is P15. And that just goes for this group session, everybody. We will have the full sorted order for y'all, along with dual lineups at the conclusion of the video, so everyone knows where they are at. New face, well, not really, but a return of a face. Ryan Brommer has not run in the Digital Storm Cup Series since 2020. He's got 3 career wins to his name, all on road courses. He is also running in the Jerky Pro Truck Series this year. And there, right behind him, is your 2-time defending champion, Jonathan Zorlin. And, you know, Vince, we call Andrew Rich the man, but in previous seasons now, I'd say the last 2 seasons, Jonathan Zorlin has become the man. He's got the championships. Andrew Rich doesn't. And he's won on every type of track on the Cup circuit.
Yeah, Jonathan Zorlin, he did it in 2 different types of style formats too, regular and playoffs. So he's definitely got that to his resume as well.
There's Andrew Rich. He was first for a moment, but now he is down to 24th. There's Nate Rogers, who's currently top of the board in this session with a 43.882. There is Allison Liera. It's now Liera instead of Rain. Rain was her middle name. Now it is Liera, which is her last name. So we will be calling her such this season. Right behind her is Rob Evans in a new Money Lion scheme. So new sponsorship for the 65, and this is going to be their lone paint scheme seen throughout the season. There's Samet Oskin, another well-known road course racer and your 2020 Cup champion. RJ Bishop is on pit road right now. Back in the 21 once again. I don't think we have missed anybody. And yeah, we are good.
Yes, sir.
So right now the 9 of Nate Rogers is top of this board. Dylan Young second. But none of them have beaten the time set by Trey Smith. Still half the session left now with 7:25 to go and counting. Vince with where Nate Rogers' time is, that would put him 8th overall. So that would potentially have him starting 4th in Duel 2. Usually it's odds in Duel 1 and evens in Duel 2 after overall, but because you need to even out Go or Go Home, there will probably be some drivers that are odds in Duel 2 and evens in Duel 1.
Yeah, just looking at Nate right now, looks like no one really is in a clean pack. We saw that first group, there was that massive drag pack. No one's really having that scenario. Maybe Nate, if Zorlin and them start mixing it up, but it's pretty spread out here, which is interesting. Similar to last year, we saw the rookies dominate.
Yeah, it definitely was a Go or Go Home session. Not really rookies per se, Vince, remember, but just the Go or
Yeah,
Go Home session just ended up being luckier. Now, here's a potentiality right here. You've got Kev Shearer, Kate Anderson, Baran-Auskas, and Lane Sanders in a 4-car pack, and then another 4-car pack of Vince Freese, Ace Rogers, Charles Sanford, and Cole Deaver. But it looks like the pack ahead is pulling away. Otherwise, I would say they have a good chance. There's another 4-car pack right here. Otherwise, they are pretty much spread out. If these drivers right here were not 3 wide, they'd have a chance, I think, at getting the toe off of Liera. As I think you might be right, Vince. Nate Rogers, Dylan Young, Allison Liera could be in line for some pretty good times here, but I still don't think it's going to be enough to top Trey Smith and Darian Tom, because the thing with their lap times is they were 5 cars trailing 5 cars, and they trailed them for 2 full laps. So they built momentum the first lap, and then they hammered it down even further on the second lap.
maybe Evans right now. Maybe if they start lining up, they'll start catching Liera. That might be the only chance, though. I see. Let's go back to Evans' pack real quick just to make sure. Ooh,
They are
maybe
currently lined up. You can see
sniffing.
Evans. Yeah, Evans is playing with the draft, and you know Evans knows his way around the super speedways. He's got
Rich.
2 super speedway wins and a road course win. Actually, no, 1 super speedway win and a road course win to his name, I believe. Or was it 2? I don't remember. I have to check stats. It has been a minute, everybody.
Talladega, maybe. Talladega's,
I think he won Talladega twice. Yes, and then he won at Milano. So 3 wins. Yeah, there's Logan York. Just to the top, though. Only an 8:14. And Andrew Rich with an 8:35. So top 2 in the session.
We're catching Zorlin now. We're starting to see some people catch. There's a chance.
These 3 are only doing 200, though. I'm not sure if Nate will be able to utilize his run to the fullest here. And he still does not have enough of a run. Remember, I saw 209 out of the 38 going down the back straightaway. Faster lap, 7:21 by the 9. If anyone, maybe Rob Evans, but they've started passing behind them. And that's going to hurt the push draft. So I'm still not seeing enough speed to think anyone's going to have a shot here.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe Nate's just looking for a better duel spot. I just don't think anyone has the momentum.
A 7:21 moves him up to 6th. I would be 3rd in Duel 2.
It's too packed up. It's too much movement in the pack. I don't see it.
And Rob Evans, I don't think, is catching it anymore. Ferranti, York, and Rich were tucked up there for a second, but Rich is going to make a move on the 95. Yeah, and Evans is no longer getting some wake off of these cars in front. Let's see if there is another group. There's a pack right here, but they are not formed up. This pack is catching. That's Vince Freeze leading. Ace Rogers, Charles Sanford, and Cole Deaver.
Maybe. Yeah, actually, they are starting to catch. And they're lined up. 207, 206, 207. That might get close to the top of this session, but that's probably all I can see. Unless they get one more lap.
Vince has a really good run going right here, but he needs to keep the momentum up around the whole track. That's a 7.78, puts him P3. Ace Rogers, 7.53, P2. But I think they're going to check up here, and yeah, that's just going to kill the lap right then and there.
Maybe Cole Deaver. Maybe Cole Deaver.
No, he's only doing 203. Don't think so.
No, everyone's too spaced out. I think that's it.
7.55 by Andrew Rich puts him P3. You saw Liera and Turner check up, I believe, because someone pit. We'll see if Deaver runs a better lap here regardless. He was flat out, I think, the whole lap. Yes, indeed. 8.52 puts him P10. Everyone in this session a lot tighter. I will say this much, Vince. Those drivers hadn't run those 2s and 3s and then the 4. I believe Nate's 7.21 would have placed him 3rd or 4th because we had 2 6s, I want to say. 2 or 3 6s. But 7.21 will still place him P6, and we've got just 40 seconds left in the session. So if something is going to happen, it's going to happen now. This pack might have something, but they've got to get to the line here to start their lap, and then that's the only lap they're going to get. Maybe Ferrati. He can't get past. He's pitting. He's pitting.
That's it.
And that's going to kill the momentum. Rob Evans even checked up, so that's it. Yeah, that just ended any shot.
These guys are in race trim now at this point, this whole pack.
Yeah, I feel like you could almost argue that just like last year, the guys locked into the field aren't worried about where they're starting. They're worried about their race trim. So you could definitely, presume that that's what is going on in this session for the second year in a row. But it's the Rogers and Rogers show, top of the board, Nate and Ace. That places them 6th and 7th overall. As you can see, Nico Tringali and Zachary Fitzwater Sr. didn't even really get a chance to run a good lap. They were pretty much by themselves this entire session.
I think that will do it, though. Trey Smith. How about that?
Yes, indeed. He won one of those dual races last year, and now he's on pole for the 500 this year. So we will combine these results, figure out who's going to be in what duel, and then we will see you guys for the dual races. I believe with my current scheduling, we should see the dual races on April 13th. So qualifying should be up the Sunday before. That would be the 9th, I believe. Yes, the 9th. So this video is going up April 9th. It is currently March 8th. And as always, I'm recording ahead and uploading later. Or going live later on YouTube, per se. But, yeah. Should be a good dual race. Thinking I'll have to figure out race length later. I'm not sure yet. But that is all I got. Vince, thanks again. Excuse me. As we stated at the end of last year, this will not be a consistent thing, you and I. But hopefully, I think we can at least get you on for Daytona week, and then we'll see where we can get you out of your ventures to come out to co-coast. That's a word. Um, co-commentate some of these things. But
Yeah, no,
yeah,
for
thank
sure.
you again.
No, absolutely, man. Not looking forward to whenever I get a chance, I'll pop by. But doesn't mean we can't do this one. We're signing off.